All right, let's jump into another deep dive. We're tackling building stronger relationships and expanding your network, something you guys specifically requested.
Yeah.
You shared that Medium article, Building Strong Relationships and Networking for Success. Wow, it's packed with so many good tips.
Absolutely.
But of course, we're not just going to skim the surface.
Right.
We're diving deep into the WHY behind these strategies.
It's so easy to get caught up in just the how WTOs of networking, but understanding the psychology behind it. That's where the real magic happens.
I was so struck by how the article frames rapport as the foundation
Yeah,
for any one successful relationship.
for sure.
And it goes really deep into the psychology of connection,
Mm-hmm.
offering 10 practical tips. So
Okay.
let's explore a few that really resonated with me,
Yeah, let's do it.
like active listening.
Yes.
I think we've all heard that phrase before,
Yeah.
but putting it into practice
Yeah.
can be tricky.
Oh, for sure.
It's more than just nodding along, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's about being present, truly absorbing what the other person is saying and responding in a way that shows you understand their words, but also like their emotions.
So it's not just about hearing, it's about understanding.
100%.
Now, what about mirroring body language?
Yeah.
I've heard about this, but always felt like it would seem so awkward or forced.
It's definitely a subtle art. If you do it poorly, it can come across as mimicking.
Yeah.
But when it's done subtly,
Right.
it creates this subconscious sense of connection. Think about it. When you're with someone you feel really comfortable with, you naturally tend to mirror their posture or gestures.
Yeah.
It's a way of non-verbally signaling, like, I'm with you, I get you.
It's almost like creating a sense of harmony without even saying a word.
Right.
The article also talks about the importance of showing genuine interest.
Yeah.
Isn't that just basic good manners?
I mean, it's more than just being polite. It's about taking a genuine interest in the other person's world, asking thoughtful questions, listening to their answers, and letting them know that you actually value their perspective.
You know what always impresses me? When someone remembers a small detail that I shared weeks ago,
Oh, yeah.
it makes me instantly feel valued.
It makes such a difference.
What's the science behind that?
Okay.
And how can we get better at remembering those little things?
It all comes down to feeling seen and acknowledged.
Right.
Our brains are wired to prioritize information that's relevant to us.
Okay.
So when someone remembers something specific about us, it signals that we've made an impression that we're worth remembering. And as for getting better at it,
Right.
well, it starts with being present and paying attention during the conversation.
Okay.
And then you can try some simple memory techniques like associating the detail with a visual image or repeating it back to the person to just reinforce it in your mind.
So rather than frantically trying to memorize every detail, it's about being more present in the moment
Exactly.
and making those mental connections.
Yeah.
The article also dives into the importance of being vulnerable
Yes.
and authentic.
This is a big one.
I used to think I had to project this perfect image,
Right.
but the truth is, people connect with our imperfections.
People can smell fake a mile away. It's much more effective to just be yourself, let your personality shine through.
Think about Brene Brown's work on vulnerability.
Yeah.
It's like she shows that allowing ourselves to be seen, imperfections and all, actually deepens connection.
Absolutely.
It builds trust because it shows the other person that we're not afraid to be real,
Yeah,
to let them see who we truly are.
for sure.
It's like saying, hey, I'm not perfect.
Right.
And that's okay. You don't have to be perfect either.
Exactly.
And that just creates a safe space for genuine connection.
Mhm.
So we've laid a solid foundation with these rapport building tips.
Okay.
But how do we take these skills and apply them when we're meeting new people?
Yeah, that's the next step. So networking can feel taunting for sure. But the article offers some really authentic approaches. It kind of breaks it down into two categories.
Great.
Nurturing your existing network
Okay.
and then branching out to meet new people.
Gotcha.
Let's start with the folks we already know.
Okay.
It's so easy to get focused on expanding our circle that we forget to nurture the connections
Yes.
that we already have.
It's like that saying, the grass is always greener,
Exactly.
but sometimes the most fertile ground is right under our feet.
100%.
The article mentions attending social gatherings.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll admit, as an introvert, that's not always my go-to.
I hear you.
Any tips for making those gatherings less overwhelming and more about genuine connection?
Well, for introverts, large gatherings can feel draining, for sure.
Yeah.
I think the key is to be strategic.
Okay.
Instead of trying to work the entire room, focus on having a few meaningful conversations.
Mhm.
Remember those active listening skills you were talking about?
Right.
Use them, Ask some open-ended questions. Really listen to the answers and let the conversation flow naturally.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised at the connections you can make without having to be the center of attention.
That definitely takes the pressure off.
Yeah,
So it's not about quantity, it's about the quality of interaction.
exactly.
The article also talks about offering help
Mm-hmm.
and being a connector.
Yeah.
What exactly does that mean in practice?
Being a connector is all about facilitating relationships that benefit both parties.
Okay.
It could be as simple as introducing two people who share a common interest,
Yeah.
or maybe connecting someone with a resource they need.
Right.
It positions you as someone who genuinely cares about others and wants to see them succeed.
I love that. It's not just about what I can get. It's about how I can contribute to my network.
For sure.
Now, let's talk about meeting new people.
All right.
That can be intimidating,
Absolutely.
especially if you're not naturally outgoing.
Yeah.
The article had some interesting advice on using shared interests as a starting point. Can you elaborate on
Yeah. Shared interests are like gold when it comes to networking.
Mhm.
They provide that instant connection point
Yeah.
and make conversations flow so much more easily.
Right.
Think about your hobbies, passions, and areas of expertise.
Mhm.
Then seek out groups, events, or online communities where people who share those interests gather.
So instead of forcing conversations at some generic networking event,
Yeah.
I can join a book club, a hiking group,
Right.
or a volunteer organization where I'm already surrounded by like-minded people.
Exactly. The connections you make in those settings are more likely to be genuine
Yeah,
because they're based on shared patterns rather than forced networking.
that makes a lot of sense.
I agree.
The article also mentions the importance of authenticity when networking.
Oh, huge.
I used to think I had to put on this professional persona,
Right.
but it always felt a bit phony.
Yeah, people can spot inauthenticity a mile away.
Yeah.
It's far more effective to just be yourself, let your
Yes.
personality shine through.
But what if my authentic self is a bit introverted or quirky?
Embrace it.
Yeah.
Your unique qualities are what make you memorable. Don't be afraid to let your personality shine through.
Okay.
You'll attract people who appreciate you for who you are rather than who you're pretending to be.
That's a relief. The article also touched on using social media for meaningful connection.
Yeah.
I'll admit, I tend to use social media more for entertainment than networking.
Sure.
Any tips on shifting that mindset?
Social media can be a powerful networking tool when used intentionally.
Okay.
So instead of passively scrolling, actively engage with content that interests you.
Right.
Leave thoughtful comments, share articles that resonate with you,
Yeah.
and join groups related to your field or interests.
So it's about being more deliberate and using social media to spark conversations and build relationships.
Exactly. Remember, it's not just about collecting context. It's
Yeah.
about building genuine connections
Yeah.
that can lead to collaborations, opportunities, and
Mhm.
even friendships.
You know, I've always struggled with keeping conversations flowing,
Yeah.
especially with new people.
Sure.
The article's emphasis on open-ended questions really intrigued me.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Open-ended questions are a game changer. Instead of asking questions that can be answered with a simple yes or no,
Yeah.
ask questions that invite the other person to share more about themselves.
Like, what are you most passionate about? Or what brought you to this event?
Exactly. Those types of questions encourage the other person to open up, and that's how you discover those hidden gems of connection.
Yeah, it takes the pressure off me to have to, like, be super witty or come
Yeah.
up with, like, the most clever responses.
Right.
I can just be curious and let the conversation unfold organically.
Exactly. And like you said,
Yeah,
curiosity is contagious.
right.
When you genuinely want to learn about someone, they can sense that,
Mm-hmm.
and they're more likely to open up to you.
The article also mentioned volunteering and taking classes as ways to expand your network. I like that it's not just about going to, like, networking events, but finding those shared experiences
Right.
that naturally lead to connection.
It's about aligning your networking efforts with your interests and values.
Yeah,
Volunteering is such a great way to meet like-minded people
right.
while making a difference.
Hmm.
And taking a class or workshop allows you to connect with people who share your thirst for knowledge.
I've met some of my closest friends through shared activities.
too.
There's something about working towards a common goal
Yeah.
or learning something new together
Yeah.
that creates a bond.
Absolutely. It's those shared experiences and that
Mm.
sense of camaraderie. You're automatically part of a community
Right.
when you're involved in those types of activities.
This has been an incredible deep dive. We've covered so much ground, from the nuances of active listening to the power of being a connector. What's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to walk away with today?
I think the biggest thing is that building meaningful relationships is an ongoing journey. It takes effort and intentionality, but the rewards are immeasurable. So whether you're looking to advance your career, expand your social circle, or simply deepen your connections with the people you already know, the principles we've discussed today can help you build stronger,
Yeah.
more authentic relationships.
So listener, here's a final thought-provoking question for you to ponder. What's one small step you can take today to practice building rapport or strengthening your network? Maybe it's sending a quick text to a friend you haven't spoken to in a while, offering to help a colleague with a project, or simply striking up a conversation with someone new at your next yoga class.
I love that.
Remember, every interaction is an opportunity to connect.
And the more you practice these skills, the more natural and rewarding they become. Who knows? That small step you take today could lead to a lifelong friendship, a dream job, or simply a brighter day.
That's a beautiful note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of relationship building and networking. Until next time,
Happy connecting.
happy connecting.